Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, Lindsay and Robin, two coaches on a mission. Lindsay House is an accountability partner and so much more. And I am Robin Sachs. I'm a confidence coach and public speaking coach. And as we have been doing throughout this year, we are walking you through the ABCs of success, one letter at a time, to hopefully give you some things that take your year and kick it up a notch in some easy ways that are easy to understand and easy to apply. So that's why we're here again. And we are on the letter Q today. Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Hi, Robin. So good and so fun to be back on together. You always start my day amazing. So even if no one else jumps on this, I am benefiting. So thank you.
and ditto. This is basically two coaches on a mission. We're coaching each other and ourselves because that's how it works. And if you join in, you get coached too. But there's always a benefit to getting a different perspective on things and being able to go, I never thought of that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes those little thoughts can change everything.
I know, and I know we're on a little tangent right now and we'll get started, we promise. But I feel like both Robin and I have had clients personally come on and be like, so interesting to hear Robin's perspective on that. And you've kind of shot the same thing back my way, that we are saying the same things, but we do come at it differently. And I think that's why it's so fun to work together. And I feel like I really benefit from you, Robin, is that you speak differently to me than I would speak to myself. Or so it's awesome. And that's what we're wanting from our listeners too, is to like settle in and just let something hit you differently today, where you can take that tidbit and walk out the door and do something with it. So, but we have some fun cues for you. So we're going to get started on this. And we had one that piggybacked off of last week. So I feel like we should start with quiet, Robin, and I'm going to throw the mic back your direction.
All right. Yeah, great. So last week with P, we talked about the power of the pause. Actually, last week we realized how many words actually start with P as we were talking. It was amazing. But I don't think we'll have that problem with
I don't
Q.
think so either.
That's my guess. Oh, the power of the pause, and we're going to bring this to our Q today as quiet or quiet time. When we talked about it last week, we talked about the power of the pause for both you and from a communication standpoint for other people, because we process what we're hearing, reading, understanding what you're telling me in the pause, not while you're saying it. The brain has to process things when it can. And if you're still talking, I can't process what you just said. And so this idea of quiet time benefits you in a couple of different ways. One, when there is silence, even though we're typically very uncomfortable with silence because we don't have it a lot, it's not something that we're used to, it's not familiar. When we have silence, instead of trying to fill it, I want you to think about these couple of things, or I'll invite you to think about these couple of things. One, quiet is when you get all of your answers. And I'll give you an example. When we're trying to figure something out that we don't have answers to, we often, for example, what if it? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't get the job? What if it looks different? What if they ask a question I don't know the answer to? What if they don't like me? What if they don't get it? The interesting thing is, one, we never answer that question. We just what if ourselves into an anxiety-filled frenzy often. If we answer the questions, those things can't take us off into sort of a stressful spiral, but you have to stop talking. You have to have the quiet to be able to answer. So what if this doesn't work? Stop. Oh, if it doesn't work, I'll do something else. What if I don't get the job? Stop. No, I guess I'll keep looking and I'll get a different one, right? What if they don't get it? Stop. Well, then I'll ask them what they need clarification on, and I can help them get that. That space, that pause, that stop, that quiet time is so powerful, because that is the time your brain is allowed to sit back and actually say, hold on, give me a second. It's like when you type something into Google, right? Give it a second, right? It's going to space. It's coming back to your phone. Give it a second, right? And all of a sudden, boom, the answer is there. So take that space, take that moment, and start to just apply it in every aspect of your life. Get used to quiet. As a matter of fact, build some quiet time into your day, even if it's 30 seconds. Put it on your calendar, set a notification. Wait, I need to be quiet for 30 seconds. Go. And just look out the window. Look at the trees. Look at the dog sleeping on the couch. Breathe. Okay, the timer went off. Great. I just created quiet time. The more you create it, the more comfortable quiet will get. And you will find the power in the quiet time where you find all your answers that you're looking for. What does quiet mean to you, Lindsay? Where do you take
I
it?
feel like you could drop the mic and walk away. Like that was so beautifully said. And I would just like piggyback on that and continue giving examples with it, that if we think about when we need answers to come to us, it is in those big decision-making moments. And it's also in the small decision-making moments. It's in, if I always relate to food and fitness, but like in that moment of, does this, what I'm about to dive into, from an exercise program, from what food I want in my house, to is somebody feeding me what's working for them, can I sit in the quiet for a moment and go, do I really think that's going to work for me? Is that really something I want to start to put energy and time and effort into? Or do, if I'm quiet, I can feel that knee-jerk reaction of like, I'm about to say yes to something I don't want to say yes to. Or maybe I would have said a quick no because I'm used to saying no to that. And I always say it's not me. And then in my quiet, I'm like, well, what if it could be me? What if I do see myself doing that? So I just feel like you describing quiet the way you described it brings me to that like wholesome moment of, we're listening to ourselves. We're letting our gut reactions help guide it's our intuition. And I have a whole podcast on that, but our intuition guide us, and we have to be quiet to hear that. So thank you, Robin, for setting that up.
And I love what you just said also, Lindsay, just kind of taking that back to round this out. When there's so much external noise, whether it's you talking or other people talking or whatever, you can't hear the internal. Only when you stop and make the external quiet, you can hear so much internally. That's where self-awareness is. That's where you can make decisions and choices. Decisions can't be made in the noise. Decisions get made really much more easily in the quiet. So
yeah.
Allison, awesome. Good morning, Allison. One of our faithful fans. And actually, it's funny because Allison just typed in something we had on our list. So maybe we'll go here next. Questions, especially internal questions. We kind of just talked a little about that with the what if, right? Questions sometimes, if I have one, but I don't stop to be quiet and try and answer it or get the answer, I have another question, then another question, then another, and I have 0 answers, but 15 questions. And that can be really, really anxiety inducing really quickly. So Lindsay, why don't you take this one to start? When we talk about questions.
I like where you were going with that. I think that people feel, when they hear themselves asking too many questions, that insecure sometimes, like, why do I question this? Why does it seem like somebody else doesn't question this, or it just comes easy to them, or that, and I go with the full permission to question. It's really important to, on again my end, to question. I think sometimes an expert sits across from us and says something, and in our intuition or our gut, we go, that doesn't feel right to me, but they're the expert. They know what they're talking about. And like question away if something doesn't, again, if it doesn't feel right, there's a reason why, and to question it. And so I always like pairing with questions. I always want to also say, be your own advocate, that you're right too, and you can ask. I've had moments in a doctor's office or in a podcast, or where I ask a question and the person across from me can make me feel dumb in that moment. And then I sit back and I go, hang on, my question was valid. And like, I've got, maybe in that moment, my degree is backing me up. And all I can think about is the person who doesn't have that specific like knowledge background asking the right question, and then not continuing with their question because they don't They're not backed with the confidence of that knowledge. And I just want to keep shouting out permission, and you're never wrong to ask questions. So I know I kind of veered down a whole different path with that, but I just want to shout at the top of my lungs, be your own advocate.
Oh my goodness. This is one we could talk about this. I'm already putting down self-advocacy as our S, one of our S's. We're going to like talk for an hour on next time, but or no, a couple of weeks from now. R comes in between, doesn't it? But what, I'm going to take what you just said, Lindsay, and kind of add a couple of things to that, because that is so key. That word expert gets in the way so often because we always believe other people know better than us. Mm-hmm. We believe everyone so much more than we believe ourselves. Ironically, even sometimes when we're more knowledgeable, right? If somebody confidently says something, you go, ooh, maybe I'm wrong, right? Even though there's no basis to what they're saying. Become really good at, like you said, listening to yourself. Just because somebody said something, it's not about right or wrong, good or bad. It's about, is that for you right now at this point in your life, or is it not? Is it a fit for you right now or not? It's not about, is it right or wrong, good or bad? And nothing only has one answer or one solution. So you can go, oh, that's an interesting take. That's one take. Let me go educate myself a little bit and see if that take is the one that makes sense for me right now. Or maybe if I revisit it in a couple of years, maybe it makes total sense for me now. Or maybe it did a couple of years ago, but now it doesn't. So that black and white thinking also, I think, goes in here. Constantly question things, even if they're things you're doing that are working, mm-hmm. and even things that you're trying that you're not sure are going to work. Go ahead and question them. And this actually leads into, I'm going to sort of segue into another thing, another cue that goes along with this. You have got to know sometimes when to quit doing things or stop doing things. Don't just seek advice as to what should I do, which is often what people tend to do. And I'm going to transition this into quitting, because a lot of times what sits in our heads and what's drilled into us over time is winners never quit and quitters never win and quitting is bad and don't quit, keep going. And quitting becomes very one-sided a lot of times in our heads. And we think of quitting as bad, something you shouldn't do. If I'm going to be successful, I can't quit. The reality that every successful person knows, every happy person knows, every person who is okay with just shifting or pivoting knows, you need to learn how to quit things that do not serve you. Mm-hmm. If you are really working hard at something, but there comes a point where you sit back and you question it and go, one, is this still what I want to do? Two, is this thing the only path? Because it's not getting me there yet. Maybe I can go look for other things and educate myself, right? Or maybe this was a fit at some point, but it's absolutely not anymore. And now it's just taking my time, my energy, maybe my money. And if I quit it, I win, because now I get back that time, that energy, that money, whatever it is, because I'm probably looking for that somewhere else. And so, when you talk about success and leadership and things like that at any level, people who have been there, done that will tell you it's not just the things you say yes to. The things you say no to are absolutely key. And because people think you have to say yes to every opportunity and yes to everything, and if you start it, you've got to finish it. Again, I'll encourage you to shift your mindset a little bit and really embrace quitting. And Lindsay, I have to imagine, especially with things like health, my goodness, there's probably as much you need to quit doing as you do to start doing if you want to get healthier, for example.
Yes. It's funny because as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, again, I don't think people quit quick enough on a job that they don't love, or on a relationship that's not good for them. So where you were going with a lot of that. And then I feel like from a health standpoint, yes, there's a lot of things we probably need to quit, but there's also a lot of things I was going to say by the raise of hands, how many people can say, I wish I wouldn't have quit so quickly quickly on my cues, because if I would have just hung in there a little longer, I probably could have seen a benefit, and I didn't give it enough time. And so I definitely think from a fitness and nutrition, back to the quick results type of thing. Now I'm finding them all.
Your turn.
Is that we got to settle in and don't quit too fast, because your results are coming. You're going to reap what you sow. It's just going to take a little bit of time. So be careful. Be careful in some areas, quitting too fast, and in other areas, man, it is a skill set to know when to quit and when to persevere through. So that's a good one.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that other side, because like everything, if everything's sitting on this timeline, the extremes are never the answers, ever. Don't quit too soon. Don't hang in way longer than you really should have quit. Right. The answer is always in the middle. And the skill set then is to, how do you kind of stay within this middle and never go over here and never go over there? Because this is where most people live, right? You mentioned quick results, right? We want this now. And if we don't get it next week or next month, we're done. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. I did it wrong. All of those things that we start to beat ourselves up about, none of which are true. Yeah. It's just, you have to give things time to be able to see results, because once you start seeing results, then you're not going to want to quit if you're getting the results you want, doing what you need to do. Right. And again, going off the deep end there sometimes of hindsight's 2020, looking back, my goodness, why did I waste so much time and energy on that? How do you start to learn in the moment how to feel that out? Give it enough time, but keep checking in and questioning. Is this still making sense? Is this still moving me forward? Is this still teaching me something? Am I still adding value? There's got to be a positive. If you check in and you check in a couple times at your checkpoints and you cannot identify anything that's moving this forward or positive about it, that might be a time to think about quitting. So I love how you said that's a skill set. Getting in the middle is a skill set. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So why don't we kind of, when we started talking about the experts and question things and just really educate yourself, become a self-advocate, that took me back to one I'm going to throw back to you that you brought up when we were talking earlier, quackery. Take it away.
Yeah, I love it. I was just talking with both my mom and my mother-in-law are here right now in the car, and we were talking about Facebook and Instagram and how annoying it is, all the advertisements. Like, you can't just get to your friends' pictures because there's so many. And what pops up so often, and where I think of the quackery, is all these promised quick, get this in 10 days, lose this in 10 days, look like this in 30 days. To me, quackery just comes to mind because, if we didn't have that kind of stuff in our face every day, these unmet promises, these unrealistic promises, those keep holding people out to think there is something out there. There is a magic bullet. There is a quick fix. And I'm calling it quackery. I feel like we have got to settle in and find the people we trust and just know that it's a journey. And again, you're going to get there, but there's nothing of a quick promise behind it. And if you're ever again sitting in a doctor's office and something sounds even too good to be true from something they're saying, the questioning it, the quiet, listen to your own, it goes back through everything that we've just said. We can work our way through whether or not we think something is real, or we find that professional that we trust to go, hey, I heard this. What are your thoughts? Because normally once we start to throw it out to those trusted individuals, they're going to throw some questions back at us and we go, yeah, that's what I thought. But that's where my brain goes with quackery. Did you have anything else on that?
I love everything you just said, Lindsay, and I'll kind of add, it goes back to sort of the same thing. We get stuck in the question and we don't answer it, right? We get stuck in how do I know if this is real or not? How do I
Mhm.
know if this is, I don't know. Why don't you go look into it a little more? And the way, this is my journalist coming back in all my time I spent in television news, again, before coming to my senses and leaving that industry many years ago, you know, the number one thing that you can do at any time to very quickly either confirm or debunk something, no matter who you are, you don't have to be a journalist, consider the source.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest things that you can do. And again, the reason I say that is, number one, if you are not already doing or have already done exactly what I want to do, your opinion, advice, suggestions about it mean absolutely nothing. You don't know anything more than me. And so today you can vet people or a company or a person. You can vet people so quickly to see, is this kind of a fly by night thing? I've created this thing and I'm going to pitch it out there. Or is there a little bit of substance? And sometimes it's the, yes, I went through this and now I want to show you how to do it. All right, I'm listening a little bit. But again, I'm keeping my radar up as to, am I getting actual advice that makes sense, that sounds good? Because as soon as a hack comes in, I'm gone.
Yeah.
There are, if it's a hack,
Yeah.
ditch it.
Yeah.
People
Yep.
spend a lifetime trying to get things done quicker, and what they do is waste a lifetime, when if they just did the stuff they actually needed to do to get what they wanted, they would have spent that much time and been there. So we've talked about that before with a couple of things. So consider sources. Who is saying that? Who is putting that out there? Are they trustworthy? Are they believable? Do you trust them? You can confirm or go, I'm not quite sure, quickly if you get over the question and you just go, well, let me consider the source.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I love how you said, find the trusted people in your life that are go-tos for those specific things, because those people that do have a much deeper depth of knowledge than you can quickly identify things for you. Yes, this might be a great thing for you to try. Here's why. Or stay far away from that. That's a joke, right? Find those people. There are a million people who are going to try and pitch you on something. Do you know any of them? No. Do you trust any of them? I don't know. I haven't done anything with them yet. Do I believe them? I don't know. Let me consider the source.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
let me go, if it's a health thing, let me find my trusted health person and say, Lindsay, what do you think about this? Have you ever heard about this? What's your take on that? Boom, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So find those tribes in your life of people who you can go to and get straight answers for everything. You'll never get stuck in the, oh my goodness, should I believe this or trust this or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So a great way to head that off and be helpful.
Yeah. No, that was good. You say tribe, and I was going to say that I had a client one time deem her accountability dream team, because she had
Mm.
made it into, she had me as a dietitian, she had personal trainers, she had my mom's creeping in. Sorry, dogs.
Hi, family.
I know. This is real. This is life. So the physician and PT and OT, like and I challenge our listeners today. When you think a dream team, do you have your created dream team? Do you have, like, I feel so fortunate to have a Robin in my life. I would totally come to you for very specific, I love your opinion and your guidance, and you'd be part of my dream team. So I want our listeners to go out and go, who do I need to be in my tribe, my circle, my dream team for day-to-day success? Because we need it. We need the support, the positive support, because it's different. I don't think we
Yeah.
can leave Q yet, and I apologize if I'm interrupting, but leave Q yet without talking about quotes. And I know some of you out there are going to roll your eyes, because I know there is a population that's like, I hate quotes. I get it. I do get it. But I also want to say there is something that sneaks in to our subconscious mind, that when we walk past something, and a quote is a great, easy way to do it, that we can remind ourselves, yes, we can remind ourselves that we care. And in my kitchen, my quote, one of them of many, is, if you change nothing, nothing will change. I need to hear that because I think it's too easy to like repeat on day to day of what I'm doing and think I'm going to have different results, even if I'm doing the same thing every day. Pick your quote that speaks to you. I have quotes in my kids' rooms. I have quotes on by the door when my kids walk out the door that practice like you play in a game, like there's these little things, and I feel like they come up, and that's like such a great conversation starter. Your moods shall not dictate your manners comes up often in our family because one of my kids, me, husband, can be moody, and to be able to quickly say, hey, your mood should not dictate your manners. You're allowed to be moody. You're allowed to experience all your emotions, but you are not allowed to be mean. You are not allowed. So I'm trying to give some different examples in different ways. What are some of your, do you have them to rattle off, Robin? Do you have anything?
Oh, absolutely. And actually it's funny because I have several of them actually sitting in my desk. Here we go. Do it now. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. This is all about action. I am all about action. But here's another one. Work smarter, not harder. I am a big fan of, why are you trying so hard? Sit back and think and just put the basics down and go do the basics. And you'll be amazed how far you go. Happiness is writing your own story is a little Snoopy one I have over here. Because again, why would you choose not to be positive or happy or look at the partly sunny instead of the partly cloudy your entire life? I don't understand. And I don't think people understand that's a choice a lot of the time. And they can make that choice. The number one quote, my favorite ever, and in my professional role, I use this every time I am coaching, consulting, training, speaking, anything, because as a confidence coach and as a public speaking coach, you have got to make people feel, or you will never move people to action ever. And often what people are doing is focusing on the words and how do I say what words in what order and right and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you're doing it backwards, which is probably why there's not the success you're looking for. And so the best quote that any of my clients ever could instantly, if you said, what's the quote that you remember Robin taught you? They'd rattle this off. And it's a Maya Angelou quote that is, people will forget what you've said. They will forget what you've done, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that goes through my life and pretty much everyone's life who comes in contact with my life at some point, because the beauty as somebody who is professionally and personally all about effective communication, the beauty of quotes is concisely, there's something that can absolutely shift your thinking or change your life. It's this little tiny thing that if you create a mantra, if you remind yourself of it, you can change very quickly. You can help others change very quickly because quotes help you get it. Right? I could talk to you for an hour about certain things or how to put together a presentation for your team or for the executive board. But if I teach you, because you already know your stuff, we don't need to worry about your words so much. You know your stuff. Go have a conversation instead of a presentation. But I'm going to show you how to incorporate making them feel something. Because those are the moments that you're going to inspire, motivate, move them to action, persuade them, get them to do anything you need or want them to do. And so that quote is 50% of my practice is based on that quote, if you stop and think about it. So that's the power of it. Self-talk type things too. Having mantras in your head that are self-talk things, right? Even if they're little things, like if you're always someone whose negative self-talk gets in the way and whoops. All right. You see, it took to Q to get spammy things. Oh, well, that's good. I love that. Thank you so much. Oh, that's wonderful. You're a winner. That's awesome. Okay. So, think of those things. If you're someone who's a negative self-talker and in your head, your words, your mantra is always, I can't do that. Okay. Well, guess what? Your mantra now can become, I bet if you tried, you could, right?
Mhm.
Try it. Maybe it'll work. Try it. Maybe it'll work. That's your own quote. So we don't realize self-talk is really quotes.
Mhm.
Think about it. So find quotes that resonate with you, right? Find quotes. I love what you said, Lindsay, about resonating with, everyone's on the same page when that quote comes up, right? That's often what a slogan is for a company, right?
Yeah.
That's often what a mission statement is. Everyone's on the same page and gets it, and anyone can recite it and know what it means and why it's important. So
Yeah.
collect them, create them, whatever you need to do. Quotes are a phenomenal piece to your success puzzle.
And thank you for kind of stating that, because I feel like all of our brains like click in on what resonates. If a quote makes you roll your eyes, a mission statement, like you just said, would maybe make sense. Like if you're more just kind of logical and business minded and quotes feel fluffy, a mission statement doesn't. So we do need our own personal mission statement. And that might settle better than mantra or so. But the bottom line is we're all doing it. We're just calling it something different. And there's a reason why companies make their employees know their mission statement so that they know what they're fighting for. And if we don't have a mission statement in our own home, I have something in my eye that we need one. Create one. That's your homework.
And Lindsay, I just as a quick tangent, kind of before we click off here in a moment,
Yeah.
Something you just said is so key. So many people are saying the same things when it comes to personal development, professional development, but they're saying it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
The key is find the voices that resonate with you. Find the words and the phrases and the quotes that resonate with you, right? Just like you said, you're the dream team, right? If that feels fluffy, I have a client who calls it her personal board of directors because she's a very professional persona, and she could look at dream team as fluffy, whereas some people might go, oh my goodness, this is my dream team. For her, the words are personal board of directors, which somebody who likes dream team might look at and go, oh, that's so stuffy. There is no right or wrong, good or bad. To be successful with any of this stuff, personal development, professional development, self-improvement, whatever you want to call it, find the voices that resonate with you. And don't worry about the rest, because trust me, you're not missing anything. We're all saying the same thing. Yeah. Just find the right words for you, and you're doing great.
Love it. Love it. That was such a good wrap up. Put a bow on it. Q was good. Moving on next week, or we might be next week. We'll let you know.
Right.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. You can find Robin and I on our own sources. My Direction Not Perfection podcast is one of the best ways to reach me. How would you like people to reach you, Robin?
My website, robinjsachs.com. Tons of stuff on there. You can learn how to be less stressed and more confident anytime you need or want to. Also, I'm on LinkedIn pretty much every day, at least incredibly regularly. So feel free, follow me. I share a lot of things there. Or if you'd like to work with either of us, both of those places can tell you how to do that.
Yes, and we're slowly merging into one. We get this really fun opportunity tomorrow to co-coach at a retreat, a Harmony and Health retreat that's actually in Florida. We're going to be joining them virtually. But again, just kind of that opportunity to have two different personalities coming in and getting to speak to these amazing women. So if anything like that ever interests you as well, you know where to find us.
You got it. All right. Thank you, as always, Lindsay. Always learn a ton. Get energized every time we're on. And I will see you either 1 week or 2 weeks. We will be back and we will be on to R. So we'll see you when we return. I'm such a dork. All right. Thank you, Lindsay. You're awesome.
Goodbye.